The sun beat down mercilessly on the streets of Elmsbridge, a city known for its ancient architecture, tight-knit gossip circles, and the ostentatious display of wealth that spilled from its marble villas like overfilled goblets. And there he sat, by the corner of Lenox Avenue, with worn clothes, untamed beard, and a pair of distant brown eyes that studied the passers-by behind a mask of apathy. He held a cardboard sign that read, "Hungry. Anything helps." People passed him every day, some dropped coins, most turned away with tightly pursed lips and quickened steps. He had become part of the scenery, as unremarkable as a broken lamp post or cracked pavement. But not to Emily. She was a teacher at a local preschool, barely getting by, always with her worn-out sneakers and perpetually untied ponytail. She would pass the same route every evening after work and, unlike most, would stop. Sometimes with a sandwich wrapped in napkin, other times with a bottle of cold water or a blanket when the night promised cold. He never asked her for anything. In fact, he barely spoke. "Hi again," she'd say with a smile, placing the meal beside him. "Thank you," he'd reply simply, never once looking her in the eyes. It wasn't pity. She saw something different in him, dignity perhaps. Or the stubborn defiance of someone who wasn't what he appeared to be. But that act of kindness sparked wildfire in the judgmental town. People scoffed behind her back. The whispers were ruthless. Emily and her street boyfriend. She should focus on getting herself a man, not feeding dirt. Maybe that's the best she can do. And at the heart of this cruelty stood Miranda Kingsley, the epitome of elegance, arrogance, and high heels. Daughter of a retired diplomat, Miranda was a fixture of Elmsbridge society. Wherever she walked, cameras clicked. She was known for her beauty, her parties, and her unmatched disdain for those beneath her. It happened one afternoon. She was driving her sleek convertible through town, glancing at herself in the rearview mirror, adjusting her lipstick, when she failed to notice the red light. Her car flew through the intersection and swerved wildly, splashing the contents of a large puddle onto a man by the sidewalk. The beggar. She didn't stop. Just glanced back with mild annoyance and sped off. But Emily saw it. She was nearby, holding a paper bag of groceries. "Oh my goodness," she gasped, rushing toward him. His clothes were soaked, face and arms dripping with muddy water. "Come with me," she said, grabbing his hand. "You can't stay like this." She took him to a small laundromat, gave him a dry shirt from her own shopping bag, and bought a warm meal from the diner across the street. And that's when the rumors truly ignited. She gave him her clothes. She's feeding him now like a stray dog. Miranda, overhearing one such whisper at a boutique, rolled her eyes. Maybe she plans to marry him. That would be the wedding of the decade. But fate wasn't finished twisting its threads. One foggy morning, Emily was rushing to work, late and frazzled, when she rear-ended Miranda's prized white luxury SUV. The screeching halt echoed through the block. Emily, wide-eyed, jumped out to apologize. But Miranda emerged like a queen betrayed, her rage burning. "You stupid, reckless cow. Do you know how much this car costs?" Emily bowed repeatedly, explaining that she'd cover the damage. "It was an accident, I'll fix it. I promise," she said, nearly in tears. But Miranda, ever theatrical, called the police and insisted Emily be arrested for property damage. The crowd, fueled by their gossip, watched silently as Emily was handcuffed. She didn't resist. Word spread like fire. And by sunset, it reached the ears of the man on the sidewalk. That evening, the beggar vanished from his usual spot. 2 hours later, Emily was released with an apology from the police. A discrepancy in the accident report had been found, and her record was cleared. Miranda was informed she'd receive a formal warning for false claims. Miranda was furious, her confusion visible to all. And then she saw Emily, walking out of the station, not in tears, but with a faint smile. Not triumphant, just serene. Who had done this? She didn't yet know. But she would soon. A few weeks passed. Whispers of a grand opening had taken over Elmsbridge. A magnificent hotel, the Argent Royale, was launching with a gala said to be the most exclusive event the town had ever seen. Invitations were platinum cards, each delivered in person and paired with a golden envelope that shimmered with embossed lettering. The owner is a billionaire, people said. And he's single. He's secretly lived among us. No one knows who he is. Miranda was desperate to attend. She flirted shamelessly with Oliver Duncan, the man rumored to be appointed as manager of the hotel. He had a card, and she clung to him like perfume. Meanwhile, Emily stayed home, curled up on her modest couch with a book, wondering what such a place looked like inside. That evening, just as the sun dipped behind the Elmsbridge hills, she heard the rumble of engines. A sleek black convoy rolled into her parking lot. 3 luxury SUVs. She stared from her window, frozen. And then the door opened. Out stepped the beggar. But he wasn't in rags. He was in a finely tailored tuxedo, his beard trimmed, his eyes bright. The transformation was so striking she gasped aloud. "Emily," he said, stepping forward with a soft smile. "May I have the honor of your company tonight?" She blinked, heart thudding. "Wait, what?" "I'll explain everything on the way." They drove through the city as the stars came out. He told her the truth, he wasn't homeless. His name was Ethan Wickliffe, tech mogul, investor, and the sole owner of the Argent Royale Hotel and its global chain. But, why the disguise? "I wanted to see what kind of world I was building in this town. How people treat those they think are beneath them. I found more truth on the pavement than I ever did in a ballroom." She was quiet for a while, processing it all. "And me? You never once asked me for anything. Yet, you gave me dignity. You didn't see what others saw, you saw me." They arrived at the hotel. Reporters, flashing lights, a sea of elegant gowns and glistening champagne. The crowd gasped as the convoy pulled up. Ethan stepped out first. Then Emily, in a flowing gown he had waiting for her inside the car, silver with delicate embroidery that shimmered like moonlight. They entered through a private door, avoiding the main entrance. Meanwhile, Miranda, arm in arm with Oliver, was making her way past the red carpet. Her laughter echoed like a trumpet. She gasped mid-step when she saw Ethan across the room. "Is that him?" she asked. She broke away from Oliver and approached, spotting Emily beside him. "Oh, no," she spat. "Who let them in?" Ethan turned calmly, his expression unreadable. "This party is for the elite. Not for strays and gold diggers," Miranda said, loud enough for those nearby to hear. The music dimmed slightly. "Security!" Miranda shouted. "Escort this man and his little charity case out." She was interrupted by Oliver, who gently touched her arm. "Miranda, you don't understand. That's Mr. Ethan Wickliffe." Miranda's face drained of color. "What?" "He's the owner of this hotel. Everything here, this night, is because of him." Ethan took a step forward. "I own this hotel. And I have a very clear policy, no cruelty allowed on my premises." She laughed nervously. "Come on, Ethan, don't be ridiculous. This is a misunderstanding." He turned to security. "Please escort Ms. Kingsley out. And ensure she's never granted entry to any of my properties." Gasps filled the air. "No. You can't do this. I was supposed to." She shrieked, but the guards had already begun moving toward her. "You don't even know who I am." Ethan turned back toward Emily and offered his hand. She took it. Then he knelt, pulling from his pocket a small black box. Gasps turned into stunned silence. "Emily," he said softly, "you gave me kindness when the world turned away. You reminded me that humanity still exists, even in a place drowning in vanity. Will you marry me? Tears formed in her eyes as she nodded. Yes, she whispered. The crowd erupted in applause. And as Miranda was escorted outside, her cries drowned beneath the cheers echoing across the grand hall of the Argent Royale, Ethan leaned in close to Emily and whispered. I told you I'd explain everything on the way. Dear esteemed viewers, what insights did you gain from this captivating story? Share your thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the tale, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.